Since it's a very small center, that's about the environment. No ragging at all.
It opens up a lot of options for us. Also, CIC's professors are very helpful and supportive of what you're doing.
We did not get a lot of facilities here. Although we have the stadium right behind our building, we do not get the whole pitch to ourselves.
Chess in CIC is very calm, I would say. We have many good players.
Today, we will be talking about CIC as a junior. With all my experience of 2.5 years at CIC, with CIC, from CIC. Now, we would try to give you some very honest and internal insights through this video. So initially, let's clear all the basic stuff. In order to get into the BTech program at CIC, you need to appear in the CUET UG examination, where you will apply for any one language paper. English is not necessary. You have to give the mathematics paper, and you also have to give the general aptitude test paper. Apart from that, CIC has 2 more courses. One is a BA Honors in Humanities and Social Sciences. One is an MSc Mathematics Education, but we can talk about that in later. This video will focus mainly on the BTech side of things. And please do not ask for cutoff marks, because no one really knows them, right? You have to get 99 percentile in each of the papers: language, mathematics, and your GAT papers. But do not ask for the marks. It is going to change every single year. But if you want, you can check the last year trends. Maybe that will help. So now let's deep dive into some of the more inner topics. What are the specialities of CIC if you come here to pursue your BTech, right? First is the course and the course structure. Now, the course is called Information Technology and Mathematical Innovations. So, along with application of information technology, there will also be a focus on the fundamentals behind those IT techniques and fundamentals of mathematics. Apart from that, we have 3 specialization streams or minor streams, in whichever way you would like to call it. One is electronics and physics and embedded systems, robotics, cluster of that. The second is on, earlier it was called managerial economics, but now you can mainly call it surrounded by management. But of course, you have some commerce and economics subjects in that as well. And the third stream would be systems biology. Now, what is systems biology? Systems approach in any subject means you are not zooming into a particular subdomain or a subpart, right? You're considering the entire package together and studying, right? So systems biology means if it's an organism, you are taking the entire organism together, all the processes, all the biological networks which are at play in case of a particular phenomena. And that's how you study the whole thing. And the focus is always on applying your IT and mathematics, which is your major stream, into studying these minor streams. That's about the course structure, right? Number 2, the environment here. The best part is that there's peer-to-peer learning, and the relationship between seniors and juniors and students and faculty has got to be one of the best in the entire world, you can say. Everyone is like friends, and since it's a very small center, there are not many people. Everyone knows each other by their name and their face, right? Anytime you have a doubt, at 9 p.m. at night, you can message your faculty on WhatsApp, right? Or you can simply walk up to them in their cabin and you can discuss your problem. If you have some project idea or research topic, you can pitch it to a professor and you can work on it together. Or you can also get some of your friends together and then work on it, right? We have something called, month-long projects, which we have to do for every subject that we study. For 1 month, we dedicate ourselves to applying the concepts of that paper into solving a real problem. And then we also have something called a semester long project. What we do in a semester long project is it's a bigger problem. And, throughout the semester, we can apply multiple papers, multiple subjects, and solve it using an interdisciplinary fashion, you can say, right? And we try to take real problems which matter, which need to be solved. That's about the environment. No ragging at all. Not just in CIC. In DU, you won't find any ragging at all. So don't worry about it if that was something which you were thinking, right? And number three, future opportunities. So we do not have a placement cell. That might strike a chord in your brain, but that's how it is. Our center was conceptualized and founded by Professor Dinesh Singh in 2010. He was the Vice Chancellor of Delhi University at that time. And the center was created with the philosophy of, research, innovation, entrepreneurship. Placement has never been a concern. All right. That said, if you do want to get a job, you won't have any problem because our students are well prepared by the end of the 4 years to get placed anywhere, to go for higher studies anywhere they want to. And apart from that, if you ask any faculty, they will say that our alumni are everywhere, from New Zealand on one side to the United States of America on the other side. So that's not a problem at all. But even then, if having a traditional engineering journey where you basically practice a hardcore data structures and algorithms, then from the third year itself you sit for the placement cell for the company interviews which the cell has brought. CIC might not be the best place for you if that's what exactly you are looking for. Now, one more thing to add. Earlier we had something called, an industry outreach cell. It is no longer active. So you can see old reports on the existence of that. It is no longer active, right? So that's pretty much it from the academic point of view. In the next section, we will try to cover more about the facilities which we have and what kind of extracurricular activities we engage in.
Okay, so basically in CIC, what happens is that every semester we have a semester long project, and these semester long projects are mostly research based. So initially during semester 3 and semester 4, when I did carry out 2 research projects under like my esteemed professors, I kind of realized that I do have an interest in knack for research, and I think similarly, of a lot of my classmates have found their knack in research because of this particular exposure that we get. Like, through these semester-long projects, it creates a base for research and interest for research, and henceforth, it opens up a lot of options for us. Also, in CIC, for research-based projects, we have an internship which is called the student internship scheme, where mostly students do pursue research based projects, which eventually like helps us to build a base for the like in future base for our future self, which like if we do want to pursue research. So yes, this is like more or less about the research internship opportunities and the research opportunities in CIC. And also I feel CIC's professors are very helpful and supportive of what you're doing. So if you at any point of time want to come up with a research based internship, it will like they will be supportive and they will mentor you or guide you throughout that internship, throughout that project, or whatever you want to take up. So yes.
And like, do the project works go on to become conference presentations or publications?
So yes, it depends on the professor, of course, because as I told you about the semester-long research projects, so those are mostly like those are the main research projects which are conducted in CIC very regularly every semester. So after after every semester, the work you're doing that definitely has to have some output, right? So that output may be in the form of a product as well, or in the form of a research paper, which again is depends on the individual professor, whether the professor wants to send to a conference or not, or whether it has to be published in a journal. So yes, most of the research works that you do for the semester are they are targeted to be published in a conference or a journal.
So, to give you an idea about some of the co-curricular societies which we have here, now I'll mention some of them. Like one society, I'm an active part of that. It's called Colloquium. Okay, it's not a stand-alone debating society or a panel discussion society, something like that, but it's a mixture of that, and it's a place where we can discuss about topics. My friend is going there for Mohit concert. Happy Holi, everyone. So yeah, uh, discussions, conversations about topics which matter, social issues, technological issues, climate, could be anything. Topics and questions which will make you think, which would challenge your beliefs, your biases, and a lot more things are discussed in this society. Similarly, we have a quizzing society, we have a poetry society, create not just poetry, it also includes prose. We have a music society, you know but again, one problem with CIC right now is that there are many vocalists and very few instrumentalists at this moment. Then there's a drawing society, there's a photography society, and many of them, right? Then there's also a dance society, you see. But the thing is that the societies are not that active. Like, we try to have sessions many a times, but it's not that you finish classes at 5 p.m. then from 5 to 7 every day you're practicing or you're doing the work like it happens in the DU colleges. You see, that thing won't be there because students are actually very much busy with research and academics. So that thing has to be kept in mind. If academics are your second priority and you want to make a career or a living out of, say, dramatics, music, quizzing, then CIC might not be the place for you. You might want to go for a good Duke college, not a center or department like CIC. But again, if academically or in research or in teaching, you want to do the main thing or you want to get placed, and along with that you want to explore some of these stuff, then CIC can be a good option, right? But still, since this video is going to be honest, if you go to an IIT, for example, of course, they are much more developed when it comes to societal activities. So keep that in mind while you are thinking of this, okay? We were discussing about the condition of sports exposure and facilities in CIC. So to talk about football, we have with us Arnish. So he is an active player in the CIC's football team. He has participated in tournaments. He will walk us through the situation of football. Arnish.
So when it comes to football, like any other sports, we do not get a lot of facilities here. Although we have the stadium right behind our building, we do not get the whole pitch to ourselves, but then there is a corner of the pitch that we get to use, especially at the evening hours once classes are over. But besides that, there is not a lot of facilities for sports, but there's a space and there is, at least you have your classmates to play with. And anytime there's a tournament, we get notifications for it. and we are always ready to create a team and go and participate in any tournament that we know are taking place in the campus or outside anywhere in DU. So that is the status of football here. We are active, but we are hopeful for more exposure, more opportunities, and more help and assistance from the campus authorities.
And can you take some special permission to get a complete stadium to play in case of a tournament for practicing and all?
For the college team only, it is difficult, as said by the authority of our college, because they think and they have informed us that it costs a lot of money to rent it or use it for a day or two. So they feel it is difficult to get the entire field to ourselves. But then we have the polo ground, which is around 1.5 kilometers from here to use for our practice purpose. But then that also is not very convenient. But that is, to look at the bright side, an option we have.
Okay. And which all tournaments take place? Do tournaments take place regularly in Delhi University or outside?
There is one tournament that attracts a lot of teams, and that is the Delhi University Football Cup, in which all the colleges participate, the Inter-College Football Cup. And there are also other ones that are organized time after time by colleges. Let's say SRCC organizes its youth festival, where it has sports events that include football. So that is one, and other colleges that have a good football team or a good football organization committee, they also organize cups whenever they have a routine for such schedule, for such cups and tournaments.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Now, I want to tell you a bit about the laboratories and those situations in CIC, all right? Now, the two most active laboratories which we have, they are in another building, by the way, which we call the Design Innovation Center. They are one is epigenetic and chromatin biology lab, and another will be the nanobioconjugate lab. Okay, like nanotechnology and biology, combination of that. Other than that, we had something called engineering kitchen, which is quite inactive nowadays. Okay, then electronics labs are mostly inactive, and most of this kind of education is actually done using simulations on your computers. Computer labs are generally not used unless you are doing some, high computing related, high speed computing related project. We do things on our own PC systems itself, which is not a bad thing, which is quite good if you see. Things actually stay with us, whatever things we make, whatever things we learn. Then if you want softwares like MATLAB, Wolfram Mathematica, then other software which are paid, most of them are paid for by the University of Delhi itself. So you don't have to worry about them. This is another advantage which you have here, right? But like, if you want to do some lab work with electronics or physics, that's not something which you will get here. And now I remember 2 years back, there was this guy. He was from a commerce background, actually. And he had asked me that, like, he was interested in physics and he wanted to do some kind of studies and work in physics. Now, CIC's BTech degree, if you see, it is, you become eligible if you just had mathematics up to class 12 and science up to class 10th. He had science up to class 10th. So he had asked me if he could join CIC or not, because he wanted to do research work and all in physics. Eventually he did not join because physics research, yes, you can do it, but he was more interested in proper laboratory physics work, which is not available in CIC. So that's something which you have to keep in mind. Now we have with us Drupad. He is an international chess player and he will walk us through the situation of chess at CIC. So over to you.
Yeah. So chess in CIC is very calm, I would say. We have many good players, as you'd expect in a course with BTech students. We have many casual players, and along with me, we have one more player in my batch itself who has a FIDE rating. And we have this year we have also a junior who is also a player. He has played FIDE rated tournaments and has a rating of above 1500. And yeah, we also participate in the inter-DU tournaments. And recently we participated in the SRCC Sports Fest as well.
So like chess is a dominant sport in CIC.
I wouldn't say dominant because it's not as like it doesn't have as many players as football or other sports has, like cricket. But yeah, it has definitely like more players than I had expected initially.
And what kind of improvements would you like to see?
Dedicated room would be nice for players to hang out, practice, play. Like just a simple room with the setup of just a table is enough for chess, as you know, right? We just need a board and that's it. So that would be very nice to have, and also a bit more exposure, like letting us participate in all the events that D organizes. Intimation of that earlier would be very nice.